We got to get back into it. But you know who's always back into it?
Who?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to PixelLit, where we read, recap, and review video game novelizations. My name is Kevin, and with me, as always, is Phil. And today on the show, we're talking about Mortal Kombat.
Episode
3.
Oh, my
Mortal
God.
Kombat.
Who doesn't like Mortal Kombat, Kevin? I ask you. You know what? That's not a great question. Actually, a lot of people, as it turns out, don't like Mortal Kombat.
So here we are. We're in episode 3, then the final episode for Mortal Kombat, because we are not going to dedicate any more time to this book than we have to, because I'm really starting to understand why this guy wrote for the Weekly World News.
Yeah. It's getting a little, I was listening to the first episode of this the other day, and I was wrapping up the book, and I was thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, we really were like, hey, this is actually not so bad. This is pretty good. Like,
this
we were
surprisingly good.
Yeah. It does not last, folks. It does
not last. I can't remember what we said in episode 2, because as of this recording, it hasn't come out yet.
No.
Also, I have to edit it. Note to self. But this is episode 3, and we're in chapter 28. And for those of you who are coming off of episode 2, we're basically in the middle of this showdown between Shang Tsung and his group of baddies, and Raiden and his group of goodies.
Super goodies.
His super good Order of Light. I mean, you can't be any more goody than calling yourself the Order of Light.
For people who disembowel other people, they are a bunch of Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
We're going to see the extent to that later on.
Yeah. So Sonya Blade basically starts the chapter out by breaking her cover and announcing that she is an agent of the U.S. Special Forces.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is there the U.S. Special Forces? It's kind of a nebulous term. I mean, the Army has special forces, right? That's a thing.
Well, the special. Yeah, exactly. If she said the Army Special Forces, then you could go, oh, okay, I know it.
But then she wouldn't be an agent. She would be like, she'd have like a rank or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And so the U.S. Special Forces is kind of vague, to say the very least. I think it was the same thing they did with Guile, actually, in Street Fighter 2. Like, it was just like, everyone had a different fighting style, like Shotokan karate and the Brazilian
capoeira
thing.
Yeah,
for Blanca. And then it was Guile, and it would just say Special Forces. And you're like, oh. I mean...
And Guile, I believe, is part of the Air Force, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. I mean, his whole stage had nothing but F-14s in the background and everything
or Chair Force.
It's like, I don't think anyone says that. It's just the oldest thing, like, and you're not even in the military. Like,
I'm not even. It's the one like military military joke that I know from other branches to the Air Force, and I think that's like 40 years out of date, or however long.
It's kind of like it's that old street joke about like the 3 branches of the military, and you one of it, they all are in the John, and one, the Marine scrubs his hands clean in the sink and looks at the other 2 and says, in the Marines, they taught us to keep clean. And the Navy officer comes over and he washes his hands, but does it pretty efficiently. And he looks at them and says, in the Navy, we learned to conserve water. And the Army guy just marches right past them before he leaves. He looks at them and says, in the Army, they teach us not to piss on our hands. And that's just one of those classic jokes where you could like just kind of like, and it's who do we want to like? All right, it's the Marine who doesn't piss on his hands.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
He's a SEAL who doesn't. Yeah, it's you immediately took me back to like an old street joke we used to tell when I was like 12. That's amazing.
An old memory on the military base.
Whichever one I was in that particular year, they were all different, and yet they were all exactly the same. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I regret was weird.
Pretty much just like a carbon copy of like Levittown or something like that.
Kinda, yeah. They were all orange. Like I remember you in Bragg, everything about Fort Bragg, the memory of that is sepia toned and orange to me. And I think it's just because of the dirt and just it was hot. Everything was so hot there.
Yeah.
When I am hot and uncomfortable, I think of Fort Bragg and Fort Benning. Those are two places that if I have no access to air conditioning and there's not even a breeze to be had, I think of Bragg and Benning. That is for the 4 people out there who were either active servicemen or the kids of such and know exactly what I'm talking about. The hottest places on earth, they might as well be. So Sonya Blade is a special forces.
She's special forces gal.
Yeah.
So she wants revenge. She twofold. She has 2 reasons to be there. One, the Shang's son, obviously. 2, Kano killed her fiance, the
Cliff LaDolce.
Cliff LaDolce.
What the fuck kind of a name? Cliff LaDolce.
I don't know.
It's like Travis Montague or like just like Jesus, like Bobby Montpellier. Like I don't know.
It goes way too. The first name is too basic. The last name way too hard. You know, it's not a balanced name. If it was like Cliff Johnson, sure. You know, or Giovanni LaDolce. Okay.
Right. Absolutely.
There's got to be a balance between the first name and the last name.
It's a name with an identity crisis. There's no getting around it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So no getting around
Sonya Blade's dead fiance, I guess.
Dead fiance at Sonya Blade, who's only 22. Kids, don't get engaged at 22.
Don't get engaged at 22. Don't do it.
No, don't do it. Anyway, Sonya Blade says Cliff was killed. Kano shot him 6 times in the back with a 45.
That's a lot. I don't know if you guys have seen what a 45 will do to somebody, but
that's gonna chunk out some body parts.
Right, like that's a Mortal Kombat fatality right there.
Yeah, that's like that's pretty close to a Desert Eagle, isn't it? Desert Eagle's a .50. It'll just blow you the fuck open. One shot would have like opened up his back and knocked him over a cliff. Right.
So
6 times.
5 of those shots, he was not standing. Let's face facts.
5 of those shots were extra.
Right. They were extra credit from Kano.
If there's one thing we know about Kano, this man is extra.
He is an overachiever.
He is an overachiever.
So she's got a fiance. Now, real quick though, why do you think they gave her a fiance as opposed to a husband or a boyfriend? Like, is that like just the right level of relationship?
Of attachment? Just the right level of attachment. It's like not so attached that, you know, oh, she's 22 and married. Not that I'm judging you if you got married at 22. I'm just saying it's too young for most people. But 20 is like fiance at 22 doesn't trigger the same alarms in the back of your head. And boyfriend sounds a little bit too, I don't know, like too informal to care. We're like, oh, you went on a worldwide revenge tour for your boyfriend?
It feels a little
sounds
silly.
Like a little much. Sounds like an overreaction.
Well, and they point out that Cliff DeLoche is apparently this famous martial arts sensei. And I say famous because Shang Tsung knows who the guy is. So, and he lives on an island in the middle of nowhere. So DeLoche, LaDolce must be the real thing.
LaDolce.
LaDolce. And here's the thing. I can't be the only person who heard that she was engaged to a famous martial arts sensei and assumed that he was 30 years older than her. Like that.
Oh God, yeah, that's I didn't put that together, but yeah, if he's famous for being a martial arts sensei, then he's got to be like a 50. He's got to be basically Steven Seagal.
Right. Yeah.
She was engaged to Steven Seagal, and Kano killed the guy. Kano killed the guy not for the reason she thinks. Kano killed the guy because he thought he was creepy. Let's be honest.
Right. Yeah. And if Kano thinks you're creepy, you fucked up. You've done the wrong thing. Yeah. I don't feel good about it. I'm not happy about it, but I'm just reporting the facts, ladies and gentlemen, the speculative facts.
So they're basically just having a back and forth. It doesn't matter that much because it's basically he is summoning another dude. And in chapter 29, we get basically the introduction to that dude. It is Reptile. He has summoned Reptile, who is the personal bodyguard for Shao Kahn.
How much of a description of Reptile do they give? Because he has been introduced over and over again in the canon of Mortal Kombat, and it feels like he is different every single time he's introduced.
He's got a green mask and black tights, I think, in this.
So they just went with the color palette swap original.
The original, he's just green and black, and Sub-Zero's blue and black, and Scorpion's yellow and black. That's like...
Right. I will say this for the author. He gives them all very different identities for how basically identical they were in the game at this point.
Yeah, and he has green eyes.
Green eyes, yes. The prettiest of eyes.
The prettiest of eyes. Yes. So basically they start fighting. Goro and Reptile start fighting Raiden. And it... The best
Are you about to say the quote that I think you're about to say?
Dolt, Reptile said to Goro. He uses his brain, which is the most effective fighting tool of them all.
Reptile goes full after school special on us. Like he's using his brain. He's touching his skin, the largest erogenous zone of them all. It's just like, what the fuck is this line? And this is, I think, looking back, I feel like this line is the beginning of this book falling down a hill of bizarre quotations.
There are so many quotes from this point forward that I highlighted.
Yes, same. I don't have anything to say about them.
It's just that they're hilarious.
Yeah, you guys may have noticed, if you follow us on Twitter, I like to post up quotes from different books that we've read over the course of this show. And sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're just, cool or good writing or whatever. When we get to the Mortal Kombat quotes, it's just going to be moments like Dolt, he uses his brain, which is the most effective fighting tool of them all. It's just going to be week after week after week of this deliciously quotable final third of this book. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is hilarious. So basically what we have is just a fight. It's a 2-on-1 fight. Raiden versus Goro and Reptile, because Shang Tsung has kidnapped Sonya Blade and like vaporized or something. I don't know. The other two dudes, Schneider and Wu.
They get sucked through a portal or something.
Yeah.
I guess they get added to the souls that they need to open up
the
portal.
So they're just fighting. And he gets jumped by Liu Kang. Liu Kang shows up and starts beating the shit out of Reptile. And this is a bizarrely long chapter, and it can be summed up really it's just Goro and Reptile and Raiden and then Liu Kang fighting each other. So then Sub-Zero shows up. And then freezes Raiden and Liu Kang.
Yeah, you know, like you do with a god, freeze him, sure. Fuck
and
it.
He's like,
it's Mortal Kombat.
Fuck it, it's Mortal Kombat. It's it's just a complete nonsense chapter. It's just a fight, and then Sub-Zero, then Liu Kang shows up, and then Sub-Zero shows up, and you're not anywhere different than you were at the beginning of the chapter. You just have
Nothing's
a few more
gained.
Nothing has been gained or lost, except, you know, Sonya Blade got teleported away by Shang Tsung because she's the woman, so she has to be kidnapped and put
pretty much
damsel in distress
I'm sure
mode.
They'll give her a badass moment later on, Kevin.
I'm sure.
You know, they're egalitarian like that. By the way, does Liu Kang introduce himself to Raiden, even though Raiden's been the one that's like been training him? Like, didn't they have that when they introduced Liu Kang?
I feel like yes. No, Kung Lao trains Liu Kang. I don't know if Liu Kang ever met Raiden, even though Kung Lao knows Raiden.
Right. Well, I knew
and Kung Lao trained Liu Kang. Yeah, it gets weird because you would think Raiden feels like he probably would have met him already as the beggar thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, somebody's making tea.
Oh God, yeah. That's just the sound the cat makes. That's all. She's just letting it go. There
it is.
Delicious tea. Good God.
Chapter 30, we catch up with the monstrosity that is Kano Kung, as the book calls it.
Yes, Kano Kung. Yeah, that's okay, fine. Fuck it.
Fuck it. It's the two of them merged together, and they're a cloud now.
Yes, they are merged together cloud.
They are merged together cloud, and they're going and they're finding the amulet. And it's fuck it.
Basically, like these
Kano. It's such a weird. It's like the concept is like, and I'm all for weird concepts, but this is a weird and kind of like misplaced concept.
Yeah. This feels like an episode of Ren and Stimpy. Like there's a level of, you know, Kung Lao has the information on where this amulet is in his brain parts, and Shang Tsung, instead of torturing him or beating it out of him or what have you, combines his soul with Kano's soul so that anything that Kung Lao thinks, Kano can also see in his brain, so that Kano basically can force him to bring him to the amulet because magic reasons.
It's magic reasons. Anyway, Kano finds the amulet.
Right. Yeah.
And then we move. It's a short chapter, and then we're on to chapter 31. And Sub-Zero is like, the effects of the cold spell will wear off soon, so you have to get ready for when they thaw out. And I'm like, why wouldn't they just like hit them while they're thawed? Yeah, I don't understand.
Do it again.
Or isn't this one of his fatalities? Doesn't he freeze people and then shatter them?
Knocks their head off.
Like he won. Why is he letting them thaw?
Right. And he even gets excited when he finds out, like, you know, he defeated Raiden. He's excited about that. Like, they've got these victims, like they're trying to. All right, look, maybe I'm just fucking Stockholm syndroming here, but I feel like the author would tell us that, like, they need their souls to open the portal, and so they're going to keep them alive, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Sure. I don't know. Don't defend it.
I'm trying not to.
But he does refer to them as the three hench beings looked over.
Yes, the three hench beings. What the fuck? This was 1995 when this book came out, or 96 or something like that. Like, and even nowadays in 2022, I feel like people would be like, I think we can just say henchman. That's okay. Like, I appreciate your effort. It's
good
fine.
Effort,
like,
but it's great. Good job.
You're doing great. We're proud of you. Jesus.
So enter Scorpion. Scorpion enters the fray, and now it's a fair fight.
2 souls in one.
Yeah, he's a 2-for-1. If you catch him and you only need 2, then you're good. You don't need. Anyway. 2 for 1 wad down at the Wawa.
They just need, I don't know what. Yeah, they're just like, okay, fine. There are people in here. I guess the Scorpion thing is like, they're trying to keep these characters as young as possible because they figure their readers are going to be young and they want to see themselves as like, we're going to go into the training that Sonya Blade has, for example.
Right.
And it's like, and she should be in her 40s basically for all the shit she's learned how to master at this point.
Yeah.
But you know, we need a 22-year-old hottie for the boys to read and go, I'm totally going to be, my character that I drew in my math notebook for Mortal Kombat is totally Sonya Blade's boyfriend. That is what this was for, you know?
Yeah. What's hilarious is like the Scorpion in the book is not, I'm just looking at Scorpion's like Wikipedia page now. It's not the same Scorpion. It's like not the same dude. Like the name isn't even the same.
No.
He's not in the book. He's Chinese. In the but in the game, Scorpion is actually Japanese. His name is Hanzo. So it's just totally like rearranging weirdly the backstory of because there already was like a revenge element between Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Why do you need to change it that much?
Right. And he's not the only one. Like as the book goes on, like they pretty much changed everybody's background in this book, like for the most part. And I have to wonder why go through the effort of inventing new backgrounds for these characters when you've already got like source material to work with. That just makes your life easier, really. Yeah.
I don't know if this was like the era of, for like video game movies, I call this, and also comic book movies, the 90s were like the era of, basically the adapters, the people doing the novelizations or the people doing the screenplay. They're like, oh, well, I got to fix it. It was written by somebody who was like lesser than like a lot of comic book like adaptations were like the thing that really comes to mind is like The Punisher with Thomas Jane.
I remember
where
that.
They're like, we're going to make up a fake Punisher villain. Like for no reason. Like there is so much you can pull from. You don't need to do that.
Right. There's so much you can work with here. And you're going to make it John Travolta for whatever reason.
John Travolta. Sure. Okay.
And he's going to die. I remember this. I don't know why I remember this. Like he strapped like grenades to him or something and had him getting dragged away by something. And I just remember John Travolta making this pitiful little like wiggle as he's being as he's about to be exploded by grenades. Like I saw this movie literally once right after the movie came out, and my buddy worked at a Blockbuster and gave me the Punisher poster that they had up on the wall that I immediately put on my dorm room wall. And I hadn't seen the movie yet. I just liked Punisher.
Yeah.
And I didn't even become a cop. So, you know, that just tells you everything you need to know. I was a very confused young man.
Very confused.
Yeah.
Little Punisher logo with the thin blue line.
Right. Didn't even come close.
So there's like a war of words between Sub-Zero. It's if you know the Scorpion backstory in the book, and we've already talked about it, how like Scorpion is the two beings. It's like that just gets rehashed kind of.
Pretty much. And it's like, it's just, we get a lot of wars of words in this because, you know, when it comes to two of the world's greatest ninja assassins, I came here for the talk.
I came here for the conversation.
Right. Good God, there's a lot of talking in this.
My dinner with Scorpion.
Right, exactly. And by the way, the first thing, now Scorpion, you can argue about whether or not that's a badass code name. I happen to think it is. It's a pretty good one. It's been used. It's people like that one.
Yeah.
But the first thing Sub-Zero says when he says, I am Scorpion. And Sub-Zero says, I've eaten Scorpion and had Scorpion soup. I can't say I cared for either. Now Tarantula stew. And it's just like, I just want to go, why are you talking? What?
What are you doing? What's going on here?
It's like,
Sub-Zero is talking more in this scene than he has in just about any other Mortal Kombat media ever.
Talking about his meals. It's such a weird schoolyard taunt where it's like, my codename's Scorpion. Well, I eat scorpions, jackass. Like, what?
Well, cold kills scorpions.
Right, yeah, exactly. We learned that in science, dork.
Do you know what lightning does to a frog or toad?
Same as everything else.
Same as everything else. God. That is like the Spider-Man movies have aged well. The X-Men movies, not at all. That was actually
seen the first.
That was the peak of we have to fix the comic for those X-Men movies, because like, oh, let's get rid of those colorful uniforms. They're dumb. Right. We're going to put them on black leather.
We're even going to make a joke about it in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, what do you prefer? Yellow spandex? Like maybe.
Yeah, maybe some, I think everybody prefers that.
I think we all do. God damn it. Some of us actually even like the weird ass brown and orange uniform he had in the 80s and 90s. Fuck it. So it's cool.
It's cool. So anyway, everybody they tussle a bit, and then the two sides go about their business. They break it up.
It literally peters out.
It just kind of peters out.
They just like, and it ends with the author saying Liu Kang apologized for holding his companions back, muttering that he'd make his own way if they wanted to teleport ahead, complaining that it was tough enough just holding his own among gods and dead people and monsters from the outworld. It's like Liu Kang is going into this rambling soliloquy while everyone else is just like, I guess we're going to kill somebody eventually, right? Like,
yeah, I guess we're going to get to the combat part of Mortal Kombat at some point. Right. It's just we're going to have a fatality. We're going to have a reference to a fatality at some point, right?
Maybe. At least the main bad guy, right?
Right. Somebody's going to die, right?
Right. That's
Chapter 32.
Kind of the whole thing. Oh God. We get back to Kano and find out that he once, let's see, talking about magic powers, he the amulet, he says he seems to have magic powers. After he picked it up, he'd begun to tingle uncomfortably, like the time he'd never forget when he was a kid and stuck a wet goldfish into an electric outlet to try and cook it. What the fuck? Like, even for Kano, that's really fucking sick.
That is ridiculous.
It just makes sense.
And just to set it up, like Kano's been like he got the jump on Kung Lao. And he has Kung Lao basically tied up in the boat. They're on their way back to Shimura Island, which is the main headquarters. How Kano got there? They've split up at this point. And Kano is basically trying to figure out that he's like, oh, should I ask for more money? Because it's like, this is clearly worth more than I'm being paid and all that stuff. He also has this amazing line about Kung Lao.
Oh, yes.
Nice try, but between the two of us, you're Lao man on the totem.
And the thing is, he didn't write this into the book, but if you listen quietly after you read that, you can hear all the frogs and lizards and alligators in the swamp that surrounds them just booing him incessantly in their little froggy voices.
Boo. Yeah. And Kano's like, they're saying boo earns.
Yeah, exactly. The fuck. Yeah. God. So it's just, this chapter just ends with Kano wondering to himself if he's even going to bother giving the amulet back to not Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung. Is it going to even be worth it? So he's just thinking over his reward and the amulet, which, okay, that was worth a chapter, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So that was before he left. He left Kung Lao at the temple. So that's where Raiden, Scorpion, and Liu Kang, they found Kung Lao. He's at the temple. He's bummed out that he let Kano get away with it. All that fun stuff. So yeah, we get more background on Scorpion. Yeah, blah blah blah. And then they're like,
well, he repeats himself. It's
the only thing he's got. He's like 18 years old. The only interesting thing he's done in his entire life is let his dad possess his body.
Right, pretty much. Which I think we've all been there. So, yeah, we get another explanation. It's like as bad as the Batman movies. We feel like we've got to reinvestigate the origin story every chapter or so. It's ridiculous.
What did you say, Martha?
My parents are dead.
Oh, my parents are dead. They're watching a movie and then they died.
And then
I saw a bat and it's freaked me out. So.
Sometimes the pearls on her necklace fall.
Yeah.
It's very cinematic. But they're cheap pearls if they break like that. That's not the way. So that's telling you secrets about my family.
Did you know that it's a cheap pearl necklace if the pearls actually fall off? Because the way
I did not know that.
The way a pearl necklace is strung together, it's like there's a knot in between each pearl, so that if the necklace breaks, the pearls don't all slide off the string.
Oh yeah, that makes that then yeah, super cheap. Like the kind of thing you'd get on Etsy, like somebody like who bought a beading kit and was like, I can sell things online. It's high quality. It's worth $50.
It was made with love, and
you know that because she bought custom labels that she puts in the box that says made with love by someone.
Yep.
Anyway, Liu Kang bitches about the fact that
Liu Kang just keeps bitching about the teleportation and the fucking. Yeah. He is the worst, and I hope Sub-Zero
brick.
He is such a whiny prick. Oh my God. Yeah. And because they're like basically Raiden and Scorpion are like, yeah, we can teleport. You guys got to walk. And Liu Kang's like, nee.
And Kung Lao even explains, he's like, look, they're teleporting through this portal like that. Anybody who isn't like touched by the gods or part of the like afterlife or something, we can't go with him.
Like he's a god and he's like dead-ish. So
right,
what do you?
they're fine. We can't do that. And it's and he even points out, he's like, and it's not that far. So
it's there. It's a couple hours that way. Like just
yeah. Stop your grinning, grab your linen. Let's go. God damn it, this is stupid. So Kung Lao and Liu Kang are heading back. They're just in more chat, more talk.
Yeah.
No fighty.
No fighty. And then chapter 34, we finally get Sonya Blade back. And she's going to the altar. She's being held by countless hands. And being dragged to the altar of Shao Kahn to be sacrificed.
Right. And this actually introduces another character from Mortal Kombat canon, Baraka.
Yeah, Baraka.
And I want to just go off. Baraka. I just want to go off on a brief rant here because this scene really frustrated me. What we get in this scene is Sonya Blade is being taken. Basically, it's like a sacrificial scene.
Yeah, she's about to be sacrificed.
She's going to be sacrificed. And her buddies, the Michael Schneider and Jim Woo,
they're already dead.
They're already dead, but they're out there, and so she's basically being threatened with Priest Baraka, who's got, for those of you who don't play Mortal Kombat, he's this really creepy, monstery looking guy with blades that come out of his forearms. It's pretty cool. Two things that so frustrate me in this chapter. this is where it says we have Sonya had volunteered to take intensive training in modern and ancient cults when she joined the U.S. Special Forces, which immediately made me think of Metal Gear, which we read recently, where it's just like in the Special Forces, they trained you in the most useless nonsense bullshit that no one would need to know in the Special Forces ever. Like, ever. It's pointless. But the main crux of my frustration with this chapter is the author gets Baraka exactly right in the way that I think you need to do these kinds of adaptations. Baraka exists basically only in this chapter. He's a priest. We get the creepy look of him.
He's got the sword arms. He's got
sword arms. Exactly. And we get we get this moment where you think she's going to get sacrificed to Baraka. Now later on, spoiler alert, she's going to escape, knock him out, and run away. And that's a wrap on Baraka. And I think it's exactly how he should have treated Baraka in this book. You've got Mortal Kombat, which has like 50 fucking characters. Even at the time of this writing, there were so many characters.
So many characters.
And instead of just giving each one of them a backstory and all that shit, you can make sure they're all there, but they don't each one of them need like a fully speaking part in in this book. Just make them represent. That's pretty cool. And you can have like a billion fights. You'd be like, Nid Cybog or whatever his name is like, and they're fighting him, and maybe you find out his name, or maybe you just describe him and let the fans go, oh, I know who that is. That's cool.
Right.
And like just use them and abuse them and move on.
Right.
And so I feel like this is exactly how you want to use a character like Baraka, who wasn't really all that popular, except with people like me who like monsters.
Yeah.
He wasn't that good, but put him in here for like a little bit and get rid of him. So instead of having like a billion faceless henchmen, have all these henchmen have a cool individual unique look and use them and get rid of them like they do with Baraka. He could have done this with so many other characters that for some reason each get these pointless backstories, and it's so frustrating. This chapter, it just shows that the author had the ability to spread out the characters and make this way more interesting and more of an eclectic kind of book where every character in the book, there are so many useless, faceless characters in this book who are nobodies, and they basically exist to die because we don't want to kill any of the main characters. Right. And if instead you had made sure that every character was like a named character from the video game, that would have been a way more interesting book, I think. Right. But anyway, that's my rant over. It's a frustrating chapter because, ironically, it's actually pretty good. So
it's pretty good. It shows what the rest of the book could have been. The chapter ends on a cliffhanger with Baraka about to kill Sonya Blade. And then we jump over to chapter 35. And Shang Tsung is in a state. He is not healthy. Doing a teleportation spell was not good for him. And then basically Kano shows up and is like, hey, jerk face, give me more money for this amulet. Yeah. That's basically what happens. And then Goro and Reptile like show up and they're like, fuck you.
Right. Right after Kano gives another line that is going to be on the quote board, where Shang Tsung says, "You don't know what you're doing," and Kano says, "Didn't I just say that, Shang-a-lang? That's why I need you. We'll be a team like Nelson." And I went ahead and turned off my Kindle for a nice little 10-minute me break after that line, because I feel like I'd earned it.
I don't even understand what the reference is. We'll be a team like Nelson.
Nelson was a hair rock band from the 80s. Okay, they were twins. You probably know them if you saw them. Right. Google Nelson band or something like that. I'm going to do that too to make sure I'm thinking of the right guys.
Singers songwriters by Matthew and Gunnar Nelson.
Yeah, there they are. Yeah, with their swoopy blonde hair. Yeah, they had a fun time on what was it called? I Love the 80s. They were very popular talking heads for that series of shows.
I bet.
And with good reason. Yeah.
With good reason.
Not great.
They're very pretty.
They're very pretty. And they're still pretty.
Yeah.
And admittedly very talented, but not a good band.
Yeah.
In the traditional sense of the word.
So Kano wanted to be a team like Nelson.
Yeah, they were both theoretically going to get blonde wigs.
Yeah, that was the idea.
Yeah. I think this is all just an excuse for Kano to get hair. He's desperate for more hair.
Desperate for hair.
Yeah.
I understand the appeal, Kano. I totally understand the appeal.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, they get Kano's plan gets bespoiled by Reptile and Goro, showing up as they were going to.
Right. They do nothing wrong and yet ruin everything.
And then And then Kano's like, basically, he at the end of the chapter, he's like, Kano, come on. You're still working for me. And Kano's like, yeah,
right.
Fine.
Yeah, they beat his ass because he basically tried to kill Shang Tsung in his weakened state. And then at the end, they're like, but you're still part of the team. So come on, let's get a move on.
Let's go. So
Kano's lucky to have such good friends.
So chapter 36 is just a full list of Sonya Blade's accomplishments.
It goes on forever.
And then basically, she ruins the plan. She like swings her legs up and kicks out of the way of the blades, and she kills the bird. She pushes the bird in the way of the blades, which I don't understand why the bird was there anyway.
I don't. They never explain it.
They were sacrificing her to Hamachi.
To the bird. Yes.
But the bird is just a messenger pet. It's literally just Shang Tsung's pet from the earlier.
He did promise it though. Like he promised the bird a soul in exchange for like getting the message out there.
I guess.
I feel like that's something we shouldn't take too seriously though when we promise birds souls.
Yeah.
That's just me though, and I'm condescending to birds.
Anyway, she
I'd also like to. So sorry, I real quick want to point out the things that Sonya Blade learned in 3 years of training.
Go
with
ahead.
The Special Forces.
Go ahead.
She had been taught and had mastered karate, kung fu, taekwondo, martial arts weapons such as the nunchucks, sais, and katanas. Mastered all traditional Western weapons, including the knife, which is not a Western, whatever. All forms of firearms, the bow and arrow, the explosives, ranging from sophisticated motion detectors attached to C4 to makeshift hand grenades made with coffee tins, brads, and gunpowder. She'd been taught Japanese, German, Russian, and Spanish, in addition to the French and Finnish she already knew, and had studied the basics of medicine so she could treat herself or any of her comrades if they were wounded in battle in 3 years. I didn't finish a theater degree in 3 years. Jesus, like she is simultaneously an overachiever and a liar.
Yes. I would really like to call her out on her resume. Right. I'd like to be at a job interview with Sonya Blade and be like, so it says here you speak this dead language.
You speak Sanskrit, huh?
Okay.
Yes, I was taught that in the Special Forces. It's very important for me to know these things.
It's very important.
Special Forces.
Yeah. She's like, I know Aramaic.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's better to read books in the original Aramaic. It's just better.
Yeah. The original Klingon. Wow.
Yeah. So she doesn't get sacrificed to a pigeon.
The pigeon, in fact, dies. Poor Hamachi. And then she says, I highlighted this line. Sorry to cut out on you like this, she sneered, but I've got a hot date. She ran one of the somber black hooded figures through. Get my point, laughing boy?
I don't. And this is right after the book simply described. We've had some long fight scenes in this book. Yeah. And we've had long descriptions of insane mythologies and like all of these like intricate and long-winded details. And we get this for a fight in which she grabs Baraka's arms and uses his arm swords to fend off her attackers. It's just, they just say she gripped his right forearm with her free hand and used his sword to slash and fight her way through the crowd of hooded attendants. We spent all this time creating an entire mythology, and you can't give me one half page of like fun, like using a guy's arms to fend off your attacker's fight choreography. Like, I feel like at this point, the author is just like, we have got to finish this book.
we gotta wrap this up.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
You know what? Let's do, in fact.
let's do. Chapter 37. Raiden, Raiden shows up. Who's he talking to at the beginning of the chapter? He's just talking about, Scorpion. Scorpion is there as well. Okay. Yep, they're there. They're outside the compound. There's no one outside. So they're like, we're not expected or something. And they go in. And
they basically offer a deal. They're like, give us the amulet, and give us, Sonya back, and we'll leave, and we'll be done.
Throw me the amulet, I'll throw you the whip. Exactly.
and we have that moment, and Shang Tsung is just like, no, fuck you guys, and basically threatens them and says, there's only two of you, and I could summon an entire army here. And they basically call his bluff. They literally goes, all right, summon your army. And the wizard's hands began to smoke. His eyes fell expectantly to the amulet. The splendid talisman vibrated and shook against his chest, but it was only due to his quaking touch and not because he had tapped its power. So it's like this weird fake out.
Yeah.
Like his hand is trembling, and so it makes the amulet look. I don't know if that's like a fun, good detail or really stupid.
Or just really dumb.
It's so weird. And so, they point out Shang Tsung is like flabbergasted. It doesn't work. Scorpion says, yeah, we all saw. Like a lot of teenage sass from a lot of these characters. And so Kung Lao shows up to even the odds, I guess. And Goro shouts, how is it possible? And Kung Lao says, dualities. And doesn't really explain why. It's like he shouted the aristocrats. Like it just
doesn't really explain any of it.
No, just we talked about dualities earlier, and so it has something to do with dualities, I guess.
Something to do with dualities. It's
the aristocrats.
We had a slight technical break in the middle there because there were
computer malfeasance.
There was malfeasance is the best way to put it.
Absolutely.
If it sounds slightly different, that's just because Phil's computer fan likes to exercise its right to voice its concerns.
Absolutely.
By being very loud whenever his computer reboots.
We literally started the podcast chatting and me asking advice on like what Kevin likes in his gaming laptop and everything. I was like, I think it's time to replace this motherfucker.
Time.
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Put a bullet in this thing's head. Anyway. Okay.
So
basically the chapter ends with them just getting it. The fight starts. What can I say?
Yes, the fight starts. And basically there's a roundhouse kick from Goro, and Shang Tsung orders his minions to attack. And it goes on. And then they ran towards the shrine.
Yes.
Shang Tsung and Kano run towards the shrine. Because what causes them to run towards the shrine? Oh, because the thing doesn't work. The amulet's not working.
The amulet didn't work. They're panicking.
They're panicking.
And they're calling for Ruthe, the demon, who we've known next to nothing about. And in this chapter, we actually get like a rundown on like Ruthe as a demon, I guess. It's a weird time to develop your character, but all right, fine. I guess
sure.
Late development is better than no development.
Better than no development at all. But they get in there and they realize that he's like, Ruthe, I need your help, but Ruthe is dying. What could have happened there? Why did this happen? Ruthe is basically like melting.
He's seen better days.
And it's because Sonya Blade broke part of the circle, I guess, and severed the connection to the outworld, and now sort of and now it's Kano versus Sonya Blade time. Finally, the showdown that we've been waiting for.
We've all been waiting for this. Finally.
We've all been waiting
for this. First, let's talk about Kung Lao a little bit.
Let's talk about Kung Lao.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this temple is so weird and the geometry makes no sense. It's like,
they try to put a little Lovecraft into your Mortal Kombat book.
It's a little late in the game to get Lovecraftian, guys.
Right. Like, do you really think you've earned that?
Do you think you've earned the non-Euclidean geometry? I don't think you have.
I don't think you have. Okay. If you insist on putting it in there. So, yeah. So, all right. We get to a point.
Kung Lao just wanders in and he's like, I just want the amulet. Just give me the amulet and I'll help Ruthe. I'll fix everything. And Shang Tsung's like, but my Ruthe, and I can't leave you.
Right.
And Kung Lao's
everyone's really concerned about Ruthe. Out of nowhere, who is a demon, guys. If you haven't forgotten, he's a demon who's like been losing his mind because his connection.
For 1,500 years.
Yeah. He's somewhere between realms and it's making him crazy. And Shang Tsung is really upset about Ruthe. And Kung Lao is upset about Ruthe too. His whole motivation
seems
to be.
Yeah, he's sad.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I as a priest of this order, I cannot bear to watch a single life be tormented. So I'll tell you what, I will go and finish this ritual to reconnect us to everything, so that this demon can survive.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's stupider, this plan or the fact that Shang Tsung buys it.
Shang Tsung totally buys it. Shang Tsung gives him a prayer. She's like, here you go. He's like you got to recite this, Kung Lao. And Kung Lao's like, okay. And then it's like things. He does the prayer, and Shang Tsung's like, I won. The fool did it. And then he was like, oh shit, he lied to me.
Shang Tsung lied to us.
Kung Lao lied to us. Shang Tsung.
Kung Lao lied.
Yeah, Kung Lao lied to us.
Well, he will lie to us.
So they're fighting, and then suddenly all of the demons start getting they turn towards the little pagoda area and they start getting sucked into the pagoda like a vacuum.
Right. And I love, by the way, they say, Kung Lao was like, as a priest of this order, I cannot bear to watch a single soul being tormented, no matter what soul it is, no matter if it's a demon or what. Now, cut to a page later, and Raiden is literally blasting these mutant 8-foot soldiers, the Selenas, which, remember? Sure. He's literally blowing them to pieces with his lightning. So your priest is like, I can't. And
the god that he is a priest of is like, I have no problem with this.
Yes. The god said, fuck those kids. It's a little weird. Yeah. So all of the is it the outer world people, all the demons and Reptile and Goro and everybody else starts getting dragged, sucked towards the gate. Everyone's flying away except for Raiden and Kung Lao and Liu Kang and like basically anyone who's supposed to be
the
there.
mother realmers or whatever Earth Realm
they
people.
all just watch all this happen.
They're just watching this happen, and Shang Tsung is like, "What did you do?" And Kung Lao is like, "I said the prayer backwards."
Right. Oh yeah, backwards. This is Kevin. This is some 60s Batman bullshit. Like this, there was an episode of Batman that like in the 60s that like actually totally describes the kind of campy bullshit that they were pulling off. I remember Catwoman's trying to fight Batman, but Batman won't for whatever reason. And so Catwoman says something like, "I will use my patented cat ratte against you." And Batman says, "No, you can't, because this cat ratte, I assume, is based on karate, which is a defensive martial art, and I won't fight you." It's like some Dwight Schrute like level, like, yeah, I simply spoke the prayer backwards, Kung Lao said.
It's basically Mr. Mixapitalik.
It totally is.
Superman.
I'm impressed you. Well done with pronouncing that one correct, by the way.
Superman gets Mr. Mixapitalik to say his name backwards, and
I spoke the prayer backwards, Kung Lao said, which is the common way to reverse an occult process. By keeping the circle unclosed, I enabled all of your guests to go home. Oh, obviously, this is what the fucking Da Vinci Code bullshit are you reading? Like, but it works.
It works. Everybody is getting sucked in. Everybody gets sucked in, and finally the portal closes, and it leaves. It leaves like Goro and Reptile on the other side. So like the only people left are Goro, Reptile, Shang Tsung, and then everybody else is just kind of standing there. And the best moment of this entire chapter is it's dead silent. Nobody is saying anything. The bad guys, the good guys, they're all just standing there. And Kano says, "In that case, I'm out of here." And he just walks away.
He just leaves. And he just fucking leaves. We never see him again. Kano speaks for all of us. He's like, "Are we done? Okay, we're done."
Just like, dusting his hands off and walking out.
Now, Kevin, now that like all of that big weird, ape army or whatever they are, they're all gone. All the extra superfluous baddies are gone. It's just our main heroes, our main villains. We're at chapter 42. I'm assuming that in this next chapter, in chapter 42, we finally get the knockdown drag out between
Mortal Kombat.
We get the Mortal Kombat between our goodies and our baddies. That is what happened, yeah?
Nah, sorry.
It's not bullshit.
It's not what chapter 42 is. Chapter 42 is them negotiating a détente, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
An armistice.
Yeah.
And Shang Tsung is basically like, "All right, well, fuck it. Next year we're gonna settle this at a Mortal Kombat tournament."
Right.
And everybody's like
we were supposed to do this year.
Like we were supposed to do for this in this book. And they're like, "Yeah, we agree to that because you have your own laws." They get into this bullshit about how he has his own laws on this island and they can't break his laws on this island.
Or they'd be just as bad as he.
Yes.
It's like some serious internet centrist bullshit where it's like, well, actually, we would be just as bad if we punched a Nazi. I mean, Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
Because you don't
do
yourself.
You can't lower yourself to Nazi punching. No. You must defend with the death their right to say terrible things.
Yeah, Shang Tsung has been murdering people, raising their souls, not letting their souls have rest, slowly working towards opening a portal to bring about the end of the fucking world. But if we beat his ass now and end it all now, we're basically doing exactly the same thing as him. Yep. Which makes sense in my mind. Sure.
They wrap it up. They wrap it up and leave. They go to Woohoo, the village that Kung Lao is from, and there's a celebration. For some reason, I don't know why are they celebrating? Why do they know? How do they know anything happens?
They tell them, like, they like, basically Kung Lao tells them, beloved people of Woohoo, my friends and I are humbled by your welcome. We've seen the unfamiliar and have cultivated thickets of righteousness in a field of abomination, but with faith we have triumphed. And they all just kind of sit there and listen silently. They're like, cool. That's chill. We're super into that priest guy. And then I know you guys are thinking we've got like 15 pages left. Like we're going to get like a final moment of like a one last fight, one last cool, moment to. No, we find out that let's see, what Chin, our beloved Chin is going to be they promote him from shepherd to acolyte to the gods, and we take some time to find a replacement shepherd. Yeah, we check his references.
Thoroughly.
Tell him about the benefits.
He has no way Sub-Zero in disguise.
Absolutely not. Why would he be?
Sub-Zero in disguise?
Yeah, that's insane. So this is pages. We had entire fight scenes that were a quarter the length of this chapter of them dribbling the book to a halt. Like it doesn't end with a bang. It doesn't end with a whimper. It ends with a sigh and I guess the shepherd is, the guy we gotta wrap up his storyline, right? Right?
Yeah.
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 And finally we come to the final chapter, which is
44.
Shao Kahn. Yeah. Shao Kahn talking to Ruth A and saying, like, Ruth A basically sticking up for Shang Tsung, saying like he's sure that the next time it'll be fine. And Shao Kahn's like, he was sure the last time. And you're like, oh, finally something's gonna happen. No, and Shao Kahn just kind of goes, all right, but I'm watching you, Shang Tsung. Yeah. Because I look forward to such a Mortal Kombat 2.
Like 2, get it? Like number 2, but also 2.
I'm so tired.
It's a homophone.
So, what the fuck happened to this book? It was never going to be a masterpiece, Kevin, but we were actually pretty impressed with it at the beginning.
The first part where they got into all the mythology, you're like, damn, this is cool. And the only death in the entire goddamn book is the original Kung Lao.
Yes, and a couple of of
no-name dudes.
Yeah.
There's no finishers in the entire book. There is not even, outside of the opening section, there's no Mortal Kombat tournament.
Nope. No tournament actually happens.
No tournament happens.
It's just a bunch of talking and bullshit. You get a couple of fights, but like, all right, did you see the recent Mortal Kombat movie that came out last year? No, I haven't. Yeah. Okay, it's not great. It's not a great movie, but it was never going to be great. But they actually did it pretty well in the sense when they finally started fighting. They have this sequence near the end of the movie where it's just 20 minutes of like 4 different one-on-one fights that they're cutting between, and it involves fatalities and all the shit, and it's the best 20 minutes of any Mortal Kombat anything I've ever seen. And it's awesome. Because and it's like the filmmakers remembered, oh right, this is a fighting game.
Yeah.
We should have some fights. Like, we should have like one fight after the other.
Right.
And they just, I wouldn't have been surprised at this point. This book dropped off so like steeply.
Yeah.
At a certain point, it just started tumbling downwards. It was so bad. And like, this isn't fan service. This is like fan slavishness. Like they were just, I would have been surprised if like at some point Sub-Zero was like, well, first I'm going to have to go get my bagel. Oh, it's toasty. Like, it is like, Jesus Christ, guys. Like, this is the most precipitous drop in quality of any of the books we've ever read. I have to, like, at least Dead Space was bad from beginning to end. This started out pretty promising and it just fell off a goddamn cliff. I just don't know what happened. How did you like Mortal Kombat?
This book is weird, and it's like bad in a weird way, where it just kind of like tantalizes the concept of doing the thing that it says it's going to do and then never does it.
Right.
It never does the thing that it's supposed to do, which is be Mortal Kombat.
Exactly.
It has some Mortal Kombat characters in it. It has them saying some weird stuff. Kano is clearly the best character in the book.
Obviously.
And with just a bunch of references to, 80s hair metal and whatnot. But this will occupy the space right above Dead Space for me.
At this point I have to agree.
My bottom two is this and then Dead Space.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. And it's just so frustrating because it's almost worse in its own way because of how much it jumps around in quality. It gets you excited. Don't tease me if you can't please me, Mortal Kombat. God damn it.
Oh, God. And now for a new segment on the show, I will call, and this is a reference to Resident Evil 4. What are you playing? What are you playing? What are you buying? Oh, what are you selling?
I just finished that game actually a few weeks back. I never played that one.
Yeah,
and so I get that reference.
You get that reference. The dude in the little trench coat. So yeah, the segment will be called "What Are You Playing?"
Love it.
So what are you playing, Phil?
I'm playing a little game known as Vampire Survivors.
Yes.
And I think you happen to be playing that one too.
I have been playing it. I have somehow put I got to check on Steam, but I want to say I've put like I don't know. What's it say? 26 hours into it.
I am at 22.
So that is a lot of hours for a game that I bought for $2.
It is the best couple of bucks I've ever spent in my entire life. Like, holy shit, this game is good.
It's one of those games where you fire it. I heard about people playing it a couple months ago. And I was like, I saw like screenshots of it. And I was like, what is this game? This is dumb.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, I'll play it. Whatever. So it's $2, bought it. And it is wild. Once you start understanding how all the systems, how all the weapons and the systems and stuff work together in the game, it gets this level of chaos that is so much fun. It's like a reverse bullet hell. Like,
yeah, you're the bullet hell.
You are the bullet hell.
Yeah. Yeah. For any of you who haven't seen this somehow or played it or something like that, it's a very low fidelity kind of, old school 8-bit style sprite based game, very clearly ripping off Castlevania and its theme. And you play different sprites who have different abilities, and you just wander around this endless map and kill the things that are constantly swarming you and slowly power up. And as it goes, you become this nonstop, like, it's a dopamine factory because you're just constantly killing things and gaining experience and leveling up and
gold and all this stuff. And it is a game that in another company's hands, it feels like it is ripe for like microtransaction bullshit.
Oh, big time.
But there aren't any. There aren't any in this game. It's just you pay the $2. I think it's technically still early access.
It is. They're still adding stuff to it.
Yeah. And there's so many things that you can unlock in this game. There's characters. My favorite character, I don't know if you've gotten this one yet. It looks like I want to say like maybe a panda bear or something.
Oh, with the cherry bomb?
That throws cherry bombs, yeah.
I just got him today. How do you... I got massacred with that cherry bomb. I'm no good with him yet.
He is very tough because the cherry bomb doesn't always explode.
Right.
But as you level it up, and then you also get this thing, the two things that I always get, one of them is the candelabra, which increases the area of the weapons. So if you keep leveling up the cherry bomb with the candelabra, the cherry bomb gets bigger and bigger, and the percentage of explosions gets more and more frequent. And suddenly, he's shooting more out. So he's like throwing 5 of them, and they're bouncing around and they're exploding, and it becomes this fireworks show of like cherry bomb explosions when you get this guy's weapon leveled up. It's amazing.
I'm gonna have to keep going with him. I can't stop playing. Is it Gennaro, the guy with the knives?
I think Gennaro is the guy with the knives. That
guy is just because you at first it's like you're throwing a couple of knives forward, and that can it's like okay at first, but then you start building up these knives and it just becomes this endless beam of death,
spewing knives. You can cut through anything at that point. It
gets really ridiculous.
Yeah. For him, I like getting the knives and I like getting the axes fully leveled up. So you're throwing the axes in all directions and you're throwing the knives forward, and you can basically get to the 30-minute. The goal is basically to get to the 30-minute mark of a level. Right. And that's how you clear the stage. There's only 4 stages and then a couple of like weird bonus stages that you can unlock that have like specific quirks to them. One of them is called the Boneyard, where the torches, they don't drop any items. And so you can't pick up anything else. And the only enemies are the skeletal type of enemies.
Okay.
But the thing is, every minute, the strength and hit points of the enemies goes up. So by the end, you have these regular skeleton dudes who are on a normal level are pretty easy to kill, but you are having a lot of trouble. I nearly got to the 30-minute mark the first time I did it, and then after that, I have had trouble breaking 10 minutes. Because it's a really tough level to deal with.
I'm still stuck on the dairy.
Getting to level 60 on the dairy.
It's insane. I got to level like 75 in the library level, but I think it's like around 45 or so in the dairy level, and I just peter out and I can't get to it.
The dairy's tough.
That one, it's not like any of the other levels. It's got way more walls and shit that you've got to make your way around.
The one thing I don't like about the dairy is that for some reason you have all these walls and stuff, but the enemies can just like walk right over the walls.
Can just walk right through them. Yeah.
And
not all of them, but a lot of them. Yeah.
And that's not the case in the next level. In the tower, there's the walls and the enemies respect the walls. So I don't know if it's like a glitch in the dairy or something like that, where where it's like everybody is just like coming for you no matter where you are.
Right.
It's weird.
It's the idea.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's still like it's up there like game of the year like levels of how much I'm fucking. And it's so funny because you and me are both like very into like the narrative artistic side of games.
There's none of that here.
None of that. Not even a little bit. And it's like there's no storyline. Like it's just but god damn, I'm glued to that game. It's so good.
They call the chicken that you find in the game, they call it floor chicken.
Right, exactly. Yeah, they just straight up call it floor chicken. I love it. And they reference it in every single level. Like it's so good. Guys, if you haven't, if it's $3, I think it's like $2.99 actually,
something like that.
Yeah, and it is worth your money. If you haven't bought it already, if the only reason that you haven't bought it is because you're like, I've got a lot of stuff going on right now, and I really can't have that level of distraction. That is a great excuse, and it's the only one I'll accept because it will take over a lot of shit.
Yeah, it's so, and it's only at version 0.5.2.
Right.
0.5.2.
They've got a long way to go with this thing.
Yeah. So there is a lot of, there's a lot of stuff.
Sorry, I was just looking something up and I didn't want to clickety-clack on the...
Oh, yeah, no problem.
I love it. It's great. So
it's great.
That's what I'm playing now. It's probably what I'll be playing next week, too.
And that's what I've been playing, too. I've been mostly playing that. And I think I'll hold on to what I'm also playing Remnant from the Ashes and Death Stranding. But I'll hold off getting on into too deep into what I'm liking about them because I'm still early days, only in the early hours. I think at Vampire Survivors, I've put in way too much time into already.
Yes,
I've put in 26 hours into it, and I think I'm kind of running up against like the outer limits of the things I can like reasonably unlock.
You had gotten most of the collection last time we talked. Like,
I was like, I had like 60 some out of 96.
So you're doing good.
A lot of the things that are remaining are like things that are like, I don't think I'm gonna get these. So like one of them is like reaching level 100 for a few specific characters, like the Yada guy. There's one guy I haven't unlocked yet, O Sole Mio.
They all have weird Italian names, and it cracks me up. There's like one of them's name is Pecorino. Like it's so weird and lovely, and I love it.
Oh God.
Well, I actually am also playing a game that I'm not going to get into this episode too much because it's Resident Evil 5, and I've got a lot of things to say about it, but I think it would be more appropriate to bring up in our next episode.
Yeah.
Because, Kevin, we've been doing this for a year.
For a year.
And our anniversary episode, we started this podcast. Well, we didn't start it on June 8th, but our first ever episode was June 8th, 2021. And June 8th of this year, we are going to be picking up where we left off at the beginning. Our first ever book was the first in the Resident Evil novel series, and we're going to be doing the second Resident Evil, Caliban Cove, starting on June 8th. And I am super pumped.
It is, I'm really excited to get into Caliban Cove. It's a completely original Resident Evil story from S.D. Perry, who we read her book on the adaptation of Resident Evil, which has gotten, I think, to me, has grown in esteem since we've read it, in my mind, because for as silly as it is, it was tonally right on the nose for Resident Evil. And also, she did a hell of a job with the actual adaptation of like, oh, we don't have to go through this whole puzzle. Let's just like, she just breaks the glass and takes the thing. Like, she doesn't do the puzzle. And after having now spent a year reading so many of these books, I think she does a lot of things in that book that I feel like a lot of other authors could actually kind of learn from in terms of like how to represent something from a video game, but also adapt it to a medium where it doesn't make sense to actually thoroughly explain it.
I totally agree. I feel very good about reading the next in this series after we've had all of these other experiences now. Yep. I feel like we are better equipped to appreciate what's going on here, and I feel really good about it. And the fact that it's a fully original world, it's not based on any of the canonical games. I think that'll make it extra interesting. So join us next week for Resident Evil Caliban Cove.
And remember, if you can, follow us on Twitter. Give us a shout out on there. We enjoy interacting with new fans. You can also follow us on Instagram at PixelLit Pod, Twitter at PixelLit Pod. You can go to our website, pixelitpod.com, where we have links to our Discord. And if you can, share us with your friends, share us with your family. The only way we grow is through word of mouth, because there's no real algorithm that's going to boost us up. So please share us.
This is a very specific thing we talk about.
Very specific thing. So please share us with your friends if you think they would enjoy it, or if they won't enjoy it. I don't care. Just share it. And leave us 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. We're now up to 14 reviews on Spotify, and we're pulling in a nice 4.6 out of 5 average.
I can live with that.
I can live with that. I'm down with that.
Hell yes.
But yeah, that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us for Mortal Kombat, and good night, everybody.
Good night.